On this episode of Open Homes, some Bali inspiration on the Gold Coast, a coastal dream home. James takes a peek through a Hamptons-inspired home in Sydney, and Jimmy gets a tour of an impressive transformation of a classic Australian 60s brick home.
You just think back to the 60s and there would have been Kingswood work utes lining the streets, dudes in their stubbies and their pluggers rolling around with a bottle of 4X.
Come with us as we step inside. First up, we're on the Gold Coast.
The owners of this next home love to travel overseas to the seaside resorts of Bali and Thailand. So it made sense that when it came time to design their new home, they drew inspiration from their travels to create an award-winning resort-style home here on the Gold Coast. Well, look, one of the things I love about open homes is being able to explore my local hometown of the Gold Coast. But turning up today, I wasn't expecting to see this. This is a little resort that's sort of tucked away off the street, isn't it?
Look, absolutely it is. Villa Sunshine, you'd never know it was here. It's a sanctuary in itself.
And I guess if you're creating a resort like this on the Gold Coast, you're sort of going to be mindful about the materials that you use. Like, you've used a lot of hard surfaces like the concrete, you've got this stone here as well.
Yeah, look, we do. We've got exposed aggregate driveways, footpaths. Inside the property is polished concrete, complemented by some nice soft timber finishings.
Oh, mate, well, the facade looks fantastic. Should we duck inside and have a look?
Come on in.
Well, this is an amazing layout of a home. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, look, it's beautiful. Very wide and open, lots of light, lots of highlight windows, as you can see, on both sides. Make the most of the morning and afternoon sun. And
have a go at that ceiling, like you've hand-pitched that yourself, have you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, myself and three of my boys, we craned the ridge in, which was a feat in itself, but then yeah, we had scaffold set up and we hand-pitched the whole roof. Because, I mean, people probably can't appreciate how much effort actually goes into that. You know, the traditional building method would be pre-fabricated trusses. Yeah, look, absolutely. Trusses, you know, are part of everyday building these days, and hand-cut conventional roofs are something that you don't see nearly enough. When they're done correctly and nice and neat, they're beautiful. And going on with that resort feel, like, have a go at that. You've got these huge openings, but it just flows the whole way through the house, doesn't it? Yeah, look, it does. As we're standing here, you can feel that nice sea breeze coming through. All the cavity slider pockets here, all the doors, they all disappear into the walls. So it gives you that seamless open feel. And so what have you managed to fit into this small block? This home is comprised of 3 bedrooms, a separate study. It has 3 separate entertaining areas as well as a plunge pool. That's what I love about this house, is everywhere you're walking through, everywhere you look, you've got the plunge pool over here, you've got another separate little courtyard there. There's all like little pockets of these interesting little spaces. The design hasn't left anything to the imagination, and it's made the most of the block. So apart from having the separate main bedroom, ensuite and walk-in robe separate from the rest of the home. I love the fact that in this home, that master bed is a completely separate building, isn't it? It is indeed, yeah. It's like a miniature home in itself. It is linked by the beautiful causeway across the linkway here with the alfresco and built-in bar. It's a sanctuary in itself. And so we're obviously getting a bit of a Bali vibe here. Was that the inspiration from the owners? Yeah, absolutely. They, before COVID, they spent a lot of time, you know, throughout the year over in Bali. And I believe that when they had their first consultation with Reeves Keel, they wanted Bali brought into their home. In terms of the decor, it's not the traditional Bali that you would think. To me, that would be like a lot of red timbers, where it's a bit more of a modern take, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Diane, the owner's done a beautiful job on the interior design. And it's really sort of Bali meets Miami Beach, I guess you could say.
My inspiration for the home came from my love for Bali and Southeast Asia. My family and I have travelled there many times over the years. I love, you know, their culture, the way they live, as well as the beautiful things that they create. So within my home here, I wanted to feel a part of that, as well as mixing with that sort of coastal feel. I wanted just, you know, big doors that would open out, disappear into the wall cavities, and then your space just flows from indoors to out.
Now, I personally love that this master bed is separate from the rest of the house, but I could imagine it might be quite polarising for some homeowners.
Yeah, that's a good point. This parents' retreat, being kept away from the rest of the house, opens onto the alfresco area. It has a walk-in robe, ensuite and makeup area.
And I guess that just adds again to that resort feel. You know, you've got your own little retreat, you've got your plunge pool there, you could just be in your own little resort.
Up next, a coastal dream home. Next up, we're staying local, and it's my turn. I'm in my hometown today on the glorious Gold Coast, although the Sunshine State's not quite living up to its name. In true coastal form, I'm going to take you through a very classic Hamptons-inspired home in one of the Gold Coast's most sought-after locations. I love to see a Hamptons-inspired home taken all the way, and this home really delivers. From the weatherboard cladding, to the stone pillars, to the artisan tiles, I have a pretty good idea of what we can expect to see inside. This home is actually incredibly deceptive. What appears as a fairly narrow front facade opens up to this really expansive water frontage, which you're able to take in from wall to wall, floor to ceiling windows. And as for this void, this is just the ultimate in luxury. I hate to sound like a cliche, but this kitchen really is a cook's kitchen. It's got more storage than I could even fill, and I love how they've given themselves some extra width between the back bench and the island bench, which makes this space super functional. With the finishes in this space, they've really remained true to the Hamptons aesthetic. From the marble look bench tops to the shaker style joinery to the polished chrome hardware. And as if this space wasn't enough, behind this door is the most fitted out butler's kitchen I've ever seen. This home really takes advantage of its waterfront location. The upper level has a whopping 4 balconies, which means no matter where you are in the home, you're really able to take in a scene that feels synonymous with Gold Coast living. This incredible outdoor space is like the cherry on top. The detail of things like the French laid tile is perfectly in keeping with the style of the home. And if I was going to do a Hamptons style home outside of the Hamptons, this is where I'd do it. Next up, James is in Concord, just west of the Sydney CBD.
We're here to take a look at a coastal-inspired home that's filled with texture, and I can already see from the outside that we are not going to be disappointed. So join me as we take a look through this beautiful home. Well, Brendan, I'm a little bit confused. I did drive here, but I don't quite know where I am. I'm in suburbia, and yet I feel like I'm on some coastal retreat right here in the middle of Concord.
We are standing in the front of a Hampton-style home, but in my own opinion, this is an Australian take on a Hampton-style home. It's a combination of the traditional weatherboards, sandstone, lots of small detail, timber trims and V-joint. I don't think it's as extravagant as the real American Hampton style. It's our take.
I completely agree. I can see that Hampton's recipe, but it gets interpreted in our more calm, coastal Australian way. I can see all of that beautiful white trim, but what hits me straight away is this beautiful colour palette and the mixture of finishes.
I think the other great thing about this is the contrast of sort of some earthy stone and that weatherboard and that timber, and it's an amalgamation of materials. But it definitely softens everything down.
Sure does.
And then, you've got the landscaping that also contributes.
Well, Brendan, I think you've done an outstanding job on the outside, but I am aching to get inside and have a look at this home. Well, I am definitely not disappointed. The moment we walk in the door, we're struck by that striking staircase, the beautiful painted white riser. It's got that really nice fresh feel, but also the texture on the floor is quite appealing as well.
We've got herringbone oak floors here. I think that's character in itself. There's just so many lines and knots and sort of the species of timber, different directions, and it almost points you down the hallway to invite you into the house.
Now, when we walk into this space, this open plan living area, this is quintessential Australian living. We've got a beautiful, relaxed lounge area here that still feels sophisticated, a light-filled dining room because of that amazing void. I think it's a really nice space, and it also links beautifully outside with all of that glass.
Definitely. I think the big thing that you need to know here is that we have a small block, and this light void really creates space, and also it just invites light. This is the family's spot to be in most of the time. It's a cross between outdoor and indoor living. Any time of year, it feels really bright in here, which is fantastic.
The sunlight from that void also casts a little bit of a pattern as it flows towards the kitchen, catching the eye of that amazing space. I love the finishes. The shaker doors and the palettes definitely coastal inspired, but for me, that benchtop is the hero.
Definitely it is, James. Talistone marble benchtop. There's just a little hint of some veins there. It's not overpowering, it's not screaming, look at me. And it just works in nice and subtly with the rest of the kitchen and the shaker doors and the finishes.
And it's also got a little hint of that gold in there, which has obviously been picked up in the door hardware and the tap, but that's a nice aged finish, which is making the house feel like it's been here longer than it has.
Definitely, it's almost like it has, human features, really. And so, it definitely ties in with that coastal feel. And it's definitely, it's almost like a fingerprint of the house.
Well, this is the living area. Kitchen, the heart of the home. It's cliche, but it's true here, and it's a space you actually are really happy to spend time in. We've got one bedroom down here, which is a guest bedroom, but another bedroom, but upstairs we've got a few more.
Definitely,
I'd love to go up there and take a look.
Let's go.
Well, it just feels very calm up here. I like the continuation of the flooring. It just adds a beautiful continuity between both of the floors. Got a really nice feel.
It does, James. The floor continuing all the way up the stairs and then flowing up to the first floor, it's inviting.
The thing that I look at is almost the thing that sometimes you don't notice, but you'd notice if it wasn't done well. I'm going to pat you on the back. Your execution is amazing. Every joint is mitered perfectly. Every bit of architrave. I'm looking around and it just looks so crisp. It's really a testimony to your work, mate. It feels good because everything's been done so well.
Yeah, James, for us, the best thing that you can sort of have as a sort of pat on the back is that text message on Christmas Day from the owners where they've got the kids in the pool. and the beer's in the fridge. There's an oven with a roast in it, and the table's set. You know, that's when you look at things and you say, the house is being used how we wanted it to be used.
Beautiful.
And memories are starting to be made.
This is a beautiful space at the rear of the home, a great link between inside and out. And even though it's not a massive block, you've actually ended up with a great amount of yard space, enough for a fantastic pool.
Yeah, James, the pool is one of the areas that owners really wanted to incorporate. It's another way that ties the family all together. And not far is the big outdoor dining table. We've got undercover areas and a couple of spots. Another vaulted ceiling gives us that really great sort of feeling of openness. And then we've got a pergola, which opens and closes depending on the weather.
We talked about the continuity inside of the flooring. Outside, it's a more relaxed palette. We've got really functional limestone floors, they look like. Beautiful chatted edges, so it looks again like it's old stone flagging that's been here forever. And then the same cabinetry colour from the island I noticed, but this time you've repeated the V-groove again.
Yeah, definitely. The V-groove is a theme that really ties in with this Hampton feel. Keeping that flowing is definitely high on the priorities.
For me, when you walk into a home, it's about a feeling sometimes, and it's a combination of all of the great work and all of the finishes and all of the design. It feels comfortable to walk into. I feel like I've almost been here before because it just feels so good. Congratulations. Thanks so much for sharing it with us. It is a beautiful home. You should be very proud. And it's going to be awkward when we're all of a sudden still here because I just don't want to leave. It's a great home. Well done.
Really proud of this one, James. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Up next, we can finally reveal this stylish renovation.
I remember when I first came to this site, where we're standing here was a dodgy lean-to shed where they had the laundry.
Now we can finally reveal this very stylish renovation in Moorooka, Brisbane.
So welcome to Moorooka, Jimmy. Here we are, one of Brisbane's popular 1950s, 60s double brick suburbs.
I love coming into an estate like this because I can feel the nostalgia straight away. Like you look around, you see the red double brick all around. You can just think back to the 60s and there would have been Kingswood work utes lining the streets, dudes in their stubbies and their pluggers rolling around with a bottle of 4X. You can see with what you've done to the front of this house as you've tried to keep that as well.
Look, and it's very important for us with this project to make sure we keep the essence of the suburb and in the new renovation, because no point doing something that stands out.
I know you, and I know that it's going to be something special inside, so let's go check it out.
Let's do that.
I love when we walked in that front entry, you could see straight over to this direction, the massive void. And I mean, what looks like from down here, high-line windows are actually windows that are at the same level as the upstairs living area, which is bringing in all of that natural light as well as looking out to the magnificent view that we've got from on top of this hill.
Well, mate, I'm glad you noticed that because we worked pretty hard to make sure we had those view angles. In the old house, that was actually a terrace up there.
Okay.
And it looked out to the view. So we wanted to maintain what they had, which was looking out to the view. Those windows serve a dual purpose. They also bring ventilation, light.
Yeah.
And we've also got some other highlight windows which face up to the northeast. So that's dragging all that northeast sun down into this beautiful thermal mass slab. I remember when I first came to this site, where we're standing here was a dodgy lean-to shed where they had the laundry. Laundry was hanging up and there was
a big concrete laundry double
tub.
Laundry.
Yes.
I'm picturing it, Alsonite roof.
Alsonite roof,
yeah.
100% right.
Breeze blocks, crumbling breeze blocks.
Yes.
I'm picturing it straight up.
And it was really one of those things, sometimes you just get an instant reaction to a home, and I instantly knew that we had to just get rid of that and that we were able to use the space so much better. Given its position on the site, quite strange because it does kind of orientate itself to the sort of southwest.
Yeah.
But because we've been able to get those northeast windows and get the master bedroom in, which we'll look at later, orientated to the northeast, it's really made the home work. we're facing north this way, Jimmy, so really important for us with this new extension to make the most of getting this indoor-outdoor space which family can cycle in and out of undercover. They can use the backyard, and it also means that that space is sort of almost a dual function. It provides shade and shelter, but it also provides the ability for breeze and ventilation that's been cooled to cycle in off the thermal mass of the slab there.
So Matt, I noticed you've tried to integrate the new extension onto the old house with these Bondor hoods over the windows coming around this back here.
Yeah, Jimmy, I mean, you know we love Bondor, but we're using it in this instance to create weather protection and shade protection for these windows. We're also using it, as you said, as a design feature. It helps tie the new and the old together. And what better way to do it? It's nice and easy. It provides a lot of thermal protection to the windows as well as weather protection. So here we are in the master suite, and obviously one of the key briefing elements from the client is to make this the hero for the home, and it's a place where they want to spend some time away from the kids. Yep. We've got windows everywhere, we've got views back to the city that way, and we've got views out to the Ipswich and to the hinterland that way. So, you know, for them it's a great space to be.
This is a renovation, this is an extension, but you're trying to keep the same character from the existing house, and the feature wall behind the bed there is the exact same chamfer board that's down in the extension and in the existing house. So just tying it all together, giving those little nods to the existing build really is effective.
I think that's a really important thing when you're renovating. I think you really, if you just go and build something brand new that's completely different, it really, you get a disassociation from the existing home. And I love some of the elements of this existing house, and so why wouldn't we use them in here?
Well, Matt, I never saw the existing house, but I knew from the front yard that we were looking in, and I knew it was going to be something spectacular back here, and you haven't disappointed. I mean, you walk straight in through that old house and look straight into this new extension, and it just works.
Jimmy, thanks so much, mate. I really appreciate those comments. Look, as I said before, we've worked really hard to use light, ventilation and thermal mass to really, really make sure that we deliver a functional, beautiful, easy to live in home.
And I think just sitting here now, I mean, we're on a bench seat in a living area, got those large windows open, the northern light, the breeze is coming in here. It just adds for a nice, peaceful living space.
Look, it's something a bit unique, these bench seats, but, you know, really important part of the design because it actually enforces people to sit here, enjoy the sun, enjoy the breeze coming through the big windows. Part of what we try and do is subtly introduce elements which can guide the owners to use the space correctly.
Thanks for watching. We hope you found some inspiration looking through these incredible homes and gardens. We certainly have. For more on the homes and behind the scenes, check out our Instagram and Facebook. See you next time for more Open Homes.